What up, guys? I'm back, and since we're getting close to the end of 2018, I started my 400 subscriber contest. Where for 2019 to enter it, all I needed you to do was tell me like five books that you wanted in 2019. Well, I'm kind of doing a deal right now. So I want it to be kind of like a tag video, and so what I'm doing is the books that I got in 2018. I'm showing off the ones that I wanted that were like I didn't necessarily have a list, but I knew what I wanted. And so I'm gonna show off the books that I wanted this year in 2018 and that I got. And I want the people that I tag or that get tagged in this video to show off their books that they wanted in 2018 and they got. And so I'm tagging White Whale Comics, my bro, Reggie Simmons, my other bro, JD, and Jeffrey Comic Con, my bros on my shows. You know, the bros on my show, we got it going on the hunt. And John's Comics with Kid, and just anybody else that wants to do this video, man. I mean, anybody, if you see the video and you want to do it, just make a video and just tag other people, because just show what you got in 2018 that you were happy to get. Because I just watched a video from Bub's Comics, and he got himself a giant size X-Men #1, and that was on his list for 2019, but he ended up getting it this year. So, you know, that's kind of cool. So that's what kind of gave me the idea for this video. So let me start off with, I knew, you know, I am a Captain Marvel fan, and I knew I wanted a Captain Marvel book signed by Stan Lee. And so I ended up getting this. This is Generations #1 with Captain Marvel and Captain Marvel on the cover, and it is signed by Stan Lee. It's a verified signature by CBCS, and a 9.6. And that was one of the books that I knew I wanted to get, was a Stan Lee signed Captain Marvel book, and I'm glad I did get that on my list. Another book that I wanted was strictly for the cover, and the bonus was that I got it a copy that was signed, but I had to have this because I've always remembered looking at this as a younger kid. Was Superman 233, where he breaks the kryptonite chains, and I was lucky enough to get it signed by Neil Adams, and I'm glad to own this book as well. I haven't been collecting, like I said, that long. I started in 2018, basically, is when I started collecting. So like Reggie says, I had a lot of catching up to do. So I was like, everything was on my list, like, oh, I need this, I got to get that. And this was one of the books that I was definitely wanting to get, and I'm glad I own it. And I don't care if it's a 3.0, you know my motto already, so it doesn't matter to me. And this right here is another book that I wanted, and I loved the story behind it. It took me back to, like, you know, early Spider-Man stories and X-Men's and Invincible #1. This was like a ghost for me to hunt down. It was like I look everywhere, and finally I came across a good deal on it. It is actually signed by Robert Kirkman. That's why it's qualified. So I was glad to get this in an 8.5. This was really on my list because I love the Invincible story. I can't wait for it to either be a movie or a cartoon, whichever one they're planning on doing. But yeah, this was another one that was on my list of a must-have for 2018. And I accomplished that, and I'm glad that I did. And speaking of giant size X-Men, this is my giant size X-Men 2.0, and it presents so much better than a 2.0. So I'm just glad to have it in my collection. This was like a grail for me. I'm an X-Men fan. I always loved, like, the struggle of the mutants and the oppression that they had to go up against, and they would still, like, protect the people that hated them. So for me to get this in my collection was a pretty awesome deal. The guy I got it from, we worked out a pretty good deal, and everything's there. I was just happy to have this. And like I said, I don't have a problem with it being a PGX. I'm not going to re-slab it. It's going to stay just how it is. I'm going to pass it on to my kids. And this is just like an awesome thing to have in my collection. And it's like I have a poster of it in my living room on the wall, and it was like a reminder every day that I would like get up, like, I want that book. I got to get that book. And now I'm lucky enough to own this book, and it's in my collection now, so I'll always cherish this. Now, this book here was a ghost, and I mean, not necessarily as a ghost, but it was just like I had to find the right one. And it was like, and I've said the story behind this many a times, I was in McDonald's drive-thru with my son on eBay waiting for our food, and I was refreshing eBay, and this post popped up where a guy had it for $100, and it just popped up, and it was like, I just said, all right, I'm gonna get it. This is what I want to get. My wife said I was crazy for getting this, and I will tell this story to anybody if they ever ask me. But whenever I did buy it and she said I was crazy, I sent it off to CGC. I was expecting, maybe like a 9.2, nothing really crazy. But I was lucky enough for it to come back, Avenging Spider-Man #9, come back in a 9.8. First appearance of Carol Danvers as Captain Marvel, and I'm like super ecstatic to own this in my collection. I can't wait for the movie to come out. This book has such great potential. It's probably going to go up even higher than what it is now. But this was one of the books that I had to have when I first came back. I called like every comic shop in my city, almost in the state, just looking for this, and I couldn't find it, but I ended up getting it. And I'm glad that it's in a 9.8. This book was one that I had never owned, and it was just in my last video, my review. So you already know what it is. This is Amazing Spider-Man 300, and I am so happy to own this book. I've never had it, like I said before. It's an 8.5 white pages. It just looks just super great. The only thing that could make it better, I said, would be like to have it signed by Todd McFarlane, which if I ever get a chance, I might crack it open and send it in to him. But I'm glad that I got this for 2018. This is like my Christmas present to myself. Well, from my wife to me, but really to myself, for myself. And yeah, this was like on my 2019 list, and I was lucky enough to get it before 2019, so I was happy to have this, and this will always be in my collection. And another book that I was amazed that I got was this book right here. This is Captain America 100, the very beginning of his series. And this is a 8.0 qualified, but it's just because there's a coupon missing out of page 15. Doesn't affect the story, so it's actually better than like if I was to buy like a lower grade copy. So I was actually glad to get this, and I like picked it up as soon as I seen it on eBay, and I've just so happy to get this because Captain America is like one of my top superheroes, him and Captain Marvel. And it's just like, to have this book in my collection is just super awesome for me. And just the quality of it. And it's a Stan Lee story, Jack Kirby artwork, two of the greats. And the quality of the issue, I mean, it's just like super beautiful. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing missing from it. Just that little coupon. But it, like I said, nothing messes with the story. It is an 8.0, and like this is just like super cool for me just to have this. And yeah, this was on my list, and I was lucky enough to get it this year. So Captain America 100, the first issue of his ongoing series. And speaking of Captain America, the video's not complete unless I show my Avengers #4, the first Silver Age appearance of Captain America. It's a 1.5 qualified. just happy to get this. This book was loved by somebody back in the day, and it's loved by me now. So it's just a great book to have in your collection. I mean, it presents the main reason I bought this one, because it just, like, it presents so well. I mean, yeah, there's some tape right there, and whoever Harry Hart is, I believe that's the person that took care of this book to make it to me now. But this is history in my hand. Like I said, this is history. This is somebody loved this book, and now it's my turn to love this book. And it's like all there. It's all complete. Everything's there. The only thing is, it's got a lot of tape on it. It's got a married cover. But when I first got the book, I read the book. I read it from the beginning of it to the end of it, and I was just super ecstatic to own it. And I sent it off to CGC, and it came back qualified. Most people would be upset about that, but I didn't care. I still own the book. It's still in my collection. And I mean, it's just one of those ones, like, this was like my grail for Captain America. This is my grail for Captain America. This is like, when I first got it, I was just like, wow, I finally own his first appearance in the Silver Age. I was just like, this is super cool. Now, the only thing that I'm missing now is one of his Golden Age books, and that is on my 2019 list. So I'll be doing that for 2019, looking for a Golden Age Captain America book. So yeah, this is one of the ones that was like top on my list. Now, this book here is a slept on book. ETA Nick actually did a video on this book, and I'm glad that he did, because it's very undervalued. And this book is, like I said, Gil Kane artwork, Captain America on the cover, Bucky on the cover. Captain Marvel gets his iconic costume, the iconic Negabands. This is Captain Marvel number 17. I have it in a 7.5 with off-white to white pages. And this book was made in 1969, and for it to come back at 7.5, I bought this raw, sent it off to CGC, didn't have it pressed, just sent it off because it looked so good, and it came back at 7.5. This book is like one of my top Captain Marvel books that I have. This is where all this begins and ends up with Carol Danvers for me. So it's like, this was one of the books that I knew I had to get in 2018, and I knew that it was on my list, and I knew that I couldn't wait. And so I got it now, and I'm super happy. So anybody that wants to do this video, do it, because it's fun. Just show what you have in 2018 and tag somebody else or whoever you want to tag. But this is just something that everybody should be doing right now, showing why we collect and what you got this year. And it's like, next year we got a new list coming up, so show what you got this year and what you were happy about getting this year. So I'll catch you guys in the next video.